Thanks, Chris, for that question. This one's a little bit more difficult. If you got 160, you got it right. Even though this is an absolute value problem, we also have to follow the order of operations. The absolute value symbols act as parentheses as well. We know when we're working with parentheses, we need to work from the innermost parentheses outward. So first thing we have to do is evaluate what is inside these parentheses and follow the order of operations, and then we'll move on. The first thing I want to do is evaluate this 6 squared. 6 squared is 36, so this turns into 6 minus 36. First we want to evaluate 6 squared. 6 squared is 36, so here we have 6 minus 36. We still have another operation inside the parentheses before we can move to operations outside these parentheses. So here I have to evaluate 6 minus 36. 6 minus 36 is negative 30. Now that I've finished evaluating what's inside the parentheses, I can move to what's inside the absolute value symbols. When I'm working inside the absolute value symbols, I still have to follow the order of operations. So I have an exponent. Let's evaluate that first. I have 2 times the absolute value of negative 5 squared. Now we have to evaluate negative 5 squared. Since the negative is not in parentheses, negative is not part of the base, so we have negative 1 times 5 squared, and we know that 5 squared is 25. And I copy down the rest of the operations. I know when I write two numbers next to each other that I have to multiply them. So the next thing I need to do inside my absolute value is to evaluate the two multiplications in order from left to right. So I have 2 times the absolute value of negative 1 times 25, which is negative 25. Negative 25 times negative 2 is positive 50. Then I have negative 1 times negative 30, which gives me positive 30. So I have 2 times the absolute value of negative 1 times 25, which is negative 25, times negative 2 is positive 50. And then I have negative 1 times negative 30 gives me a positive 30. Now that I've performed the multiplication and division inside the absolute value, I can do the addition and subtraction. So I have 2 times the absolute value of 50 plus 30, which is 80. Since absolute value is the distance a number is from 0, we know that the absolute value of 80 is simply 80. So the last step is 2 times 80. And 2 times 80 gives us our answer of 160.